I wanted to help make sure that you understood what you were supposed to get on the back of your lab. So what you should have done is we weighed the mass of the foil boat. You got a mass. It was something under 2 grams. And then mass of the copper sulfate. Some of you did this correctly, some of you did not. But when you had the foil boat on there, you zero it off. So you hit the 0 button and then you start adding your crystals to weigh just the crystals. Some of you did that, and some of you had a mass bigger than this and then just subtracted this off and wrote this here. Either way, the mass that goes here should be just the crystal mass, because you had the foil boat, you zeroed it off, and then now you have the mass of the copper hydrate sulfate. I mean, not sulfate, it is copper sulfate hydrate. So it's already hydrated, okay? So this is our hydrate mass of it still being hydrated. Then we have the mass of the copper sulfate after heating. Okay, well, if it's after heating, that would be the anhydrous, actually it's not anna, it's just anhydrous compound, but we couldn't take it off the foil boat. It was on the foil boat after we cooked it. So it's the anhydrous compound and the foil boat together. That's the mass that's here in grams. So then to get rid of the foil boat, they say take the C, which is the anhydrous mass, and the foil boat, and subtract A, which is just the foil boat. So right here, this should be just the anhydrous compound by itself, just copper sulfate. So just copper sulfate, like that, right? So I had to print out both sides, okay. Then I take my anhydrous copper sulfate. It says take B minus D. So B was the hydrate. It's still being hydrated before we did any cooking. So it's still hydrated. We subtract off the after being cooked, so the anhydrous. So hydrate minus the anhydrous would leave me with what we cooked off. So the mass of the water. It's the mass of the water, okay? So that's what should be in these columns here. So down here, we fill that in. So your mass of your hydrate is B. Whatever you got for B is the mass of the hydrate. The mass of the anhydrous compound is D, where we had to subtract the foil boat, and now that's what it weighed without the foil boat and without the water in it. And the mass of the water would be what you got for E. Okay? Now how we set up our problem is over here. This was the first question in notes for the empirical, what was it? Empirical extended, empirical revisited. So our very last set of notes is the very first question on a hydrate, how to solve it. So how I find the empirical formula of a hydrate is I start with the anhydrous mass, So you're gonna start with D's grams, okay? Over here, sorry. You're gonna start with D's anhydrous amount in grams, and you're gonna start with E, the mass of the water in grams, just like this one. The mass of the anhydrous in grams, the mass of the water in grams. And then you're gonna divide the mass of those by their molar mass. So the molar mass of what? CuSO4 would go here, and the mass of water, which is H2O, which we know is 18.02. So we divide our beginning mass by their molar masses, and we're gonna get an answer here, okay? Now, whichever answer is smaller, that is the one that you're gonna divide them both by. Remember, we divide them both by whichever one of these is smaller. And hopefully you get an answer that's one of your main compound, like this. You have one of these and a certain number of H2Os. And you're gonna put that certain number of H2Os, 1 to 10. So it's one of the compound, 10 H2Os. Well, you're gonna have 1 CuSO4 for some number of H2Os that you're solving for. Now, there's a lot of human error in this lab. You could have lost some crystals, you could have weighed something wrong, you could have, you know, not got all the water taken out of it because you just didn't cook it long enough. So lots of places for human error. So if your number here is not a perfect whole number like it is in our worksheets that are set up to work perfectly, just round up to the closest whole number, okay? So I know it's gonna be a little more off than normal, round it up, and hopefully most people in your group, you can kind of see what other people got here, because y'all should be getting the same thing because y'all were all messing with the same hydrate. All right, that's it.